Good afternoon, everybody. Today is day 228. It is September 20th, 2023, and it is 12:27 p.m. And just like yesterday, I forgot to turn on the fan, and I'm glad that it wasn't on because I was accidentally pushing the timer button. They look the same. I'm pretty sure I told you guys that. All right. Now that I have the fan on, let's get started. Okay, so I was thinking about making today's walk about favorite comedians, but I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't do any research. We did watch the new special for Chris Porter, very funny comedian, at least we think so. So I would say check him out. He's just, I don't even really know how to explain it. He's funny, we'll say that. And you know how you say, like, if you don't want to know the answer to a question, don't ask it? Okay, so he's one of those kind of people. And that's what I like about him and respect about him, because he's just going to give it to you straight. He doesn't sugarcoat anything. So that would be the best way to describe him, besides the fact, like I said, he is extremely funny. Especially if you kind of look at things the same way, you know, you agree with some of the stuff he says. So yes, but let me go ahead and get this, let's see here. I know I have to speed it up, and I don't know if I feel like I'm forgetting something. There's something, I don't know. I just remember the trash can, but that's not it, even though I think it's empty already, so I'll pull that in after our walk. Something else. But first we have to see if the treadmill is going to work as usual, right? And then I'll tell you about a phone call I got. Kind of in the line of furniture, right? So since I always mention that I have no clue what the treadmill is going to do, I'll start with that. Okay. At this point, gotta start moving my feet faster. 1 minute and 49 seconds. Speed 1.3. And no, I didn't get the oil yet. There's still some, but like I said, we need some that we can either pour in the one with the long tube or another one with a long tube to oil underneath the belt. I really need to get on that, you guys, right? I've been talking about that for almost 2 weeks and I haven't done it yet. Okay, so right now we're at speed 1.4. Okay, so let's hope a gradual speeding up works. Or else we might be playing treadmill tech. Okay, almost there, you guys. I always get nervous around this point. Okay. All right, one more. I was just walking thinking that walking in place on a machine, pretty good idea. Wonder who came up with it. Maybe I'll research that. We can talk about that tomorrow. Who invented the treadmill? Okay. Oh boy, here we go, you guys. One more. All right. I know yesterday I went ahead and turned it up to 2.1, but I'm not going to do that because I don't know if you guys can hear that, but it's starting to squeak already. Okay, so like I said, the unfortunate thing is it's annoying, but that is a sign that usually if it starts to squeak, that it's going to keep going. Definitely don't want it to stop. Okay, so we're at 3 minutes and 58 seconds. Okay, yes, so the phone call that I got today was from a furniture store called Conn's, and they were just telling us that they have new furniture in and asked us if we would want to come in and take a look at some stuff. We don't need anything else, and it's not in the same city. Okay, so it's a little bit of a drive, and so I did make the lady that called us this morning aware that we don't live there. And so she asked, like, around what time do you guys usually, come into the city? And I told her we kind of base it off of if we need something from there, right? And because honestly, most of the stuff you can just order. I don't know if I've ever made the joke with you guys, but my joke from when we first moved here was within the first 6 months that Amazon made their rent, right? That's how much, I would say that we were ordering stuff, mainly me. I will go ahead and admit that. Part of it was need, and I mean, you gotta think, like, what does Walmart not have, right? And then you find out when that's pretty much all you have. And at that point, there was a Kmart. There isn't anymore. Kmart's gone. So if Walmart and Kmart didn't have it, there I was online placing an order. Plus, like I said, once I really got into Rakuten and Capital One shopping, oh yeah, even if I was going to do a store pickup, I still wanted the cash back, right? Just not the benefits from the card, but in addition, I wanted the Capital One shopping and the Rakuten cash back as well. And then the convenience of not having to walk around the store to shop. I'm pretty sure I mentioned I don't like shopping for anything. And I really don't like when they play sad songs. I'm like, okay, no one lost someone. You want people to stay in and shop, make it upbeat or something, right? At least that's how I feel about it. Some people can drown out the music, but for me, there's a certain level of sadness where I'm like, okay, you want people in a good mood, right? Some of the music that they play, like sometimes in Walmart or in other stores, they have those things called impulse buys, right? So they put them right there by the checkouts, if they have a self-checkout, and like, ooh, was it beef jerky, candy, things like that, right? For Walmart, as seen on TV, depending on how your Walmart's laid out, that's right there. And depending on what side of the store you're on, if they have self-checkout on both sides, that as seen on TV, I guess section of the store is like kind of staring you in the face, right? And so, especially if you're like the last person in line, depending on how long the line is, you might only be 3 or 4 feet away from it. And a couple things end up catching your eye, the part that you can see. Also, usually batteries are at the front, things like that, things you need. So yeah, it's like a combination of both. Impulse buys and, oh yeah, I do need this. But that's how I feel about it. Once you can take your mind off of that and you start to feel sad, right, they really need to change the music. So yeah. So anyway, so I got to thinking when I got off the phone with the lady, sounds like she wants to ask me something else. And I'm thinking, there's nothing else. I mean, I would like for my credit limit to have stayed the same because with Conn, okay, so you have 2 things. Either you can have a Conn credit card, a line of credit, or both. And I believe that one of us has a line of credit and a card, another one of us has a card. So I was thinking for my card that I would like them to raise my credit limit back. That hurts your credit score, right? If they lower it. And I think if they lower it again, they might just close it. That's not good. Of course, in the remarks, they would have to say due to lack of usage or something, but that doesn't look good when the creditor closes your card. As you know, when I talked to you guys about your credit, the second worst thing to that is you closing it. Okay, so you kind of, I won't say you get stuck, but you end up in a situation to where you end up having to buy something like once every 2 to 3 months to keep activity on the card. And I'm gonna tell you, I have enough cards. There's a benefit to having the Conn's card and the Conn's line of credit, because depending on the price of the item, then you can be qualified for zero interest financing. And you know, I've talked to you guys about that too on my credit videos, is if you're gonna have to make payments, you don't want interest on anything really. And that's a way around it. Other than that, it would be pay for it outright, because by the time you're making payments, you've probably qualified for some type of financing. Okay, so I thought about treadmills. They have a few, depending. I would say, what kinds you have. They probably have more listed online than they do in the store. And so I texted my husband and I told him, he says, well, maybe we can go over there he suggested a day. And so I ended up calling him and talking to him about some other things, but I mentioned, well, I didn't really want to go over there. I mean, we really didn't have a need just to go over there to look. I mean, honestly, we don't need to come back with any more furniture. Laptops are very expensive there, so I personally would not get a laptop from there because of the price. But they do have a lot of unique things. The TV section, oh wow. And I don't know about prices, because prices have went down, and there were TVs that were bigger than our TV that we have in our living room, in our bedroom. They were like half the price of what we paid. And we got ours on a discount. And it was still almost like half less that price. And I was just like, you've got to be kidding me. But we're limited with space of where to put the TV. Kind of the downside is if you have like one of those, I call it like the soapbox area for the TV. Now, granted, if you have kind of like this window, right? Usually soapbox is referring to what's in the shower, and it's like this window. Obviously there's a wall, there's not a window there. But I guess if it sticks out far enough, you could still probably get away with having the size that you want if you mount the TV up, right? But we prefer just a flat wall and mountable, obviously, and then we can decide what we want to do. Or do we want to set it up on top of something? Entertainment center that's on the floor, right? So yeah, but there's really nothing. And then the drive. Okay, so it is about an hour. So I wouldn't want to make the drive knowing that we were not going to get anything, we're not looking for anything. And the deals that they had were, if you spent a certain amount, they gave you a 32-inch TV. I mean, who doesn't want a free TV? Especially if you need the furniture that you're buying from them. Dining set, table, or table set. I said that backwards, right? But you guys know what I meant. But massage chair, right? Maybe some couches, some end tables, things like that. Okay, so they said when we have 2 treadmills, they've been in there for a long time. You'll probably find out more information about them if you look online. And the information I found before was that none of them inclined to 15, which is what I need. And then on top of that, the price was outrageous. And yes, you know, we probably qualify to get that zero financing, being that we're already financed with them. But I do remember when they had more. They had maybe 3 or 4 in the store, maybe about 5 or 6 online. None of them inclined to 15. And then the reviews were bad. So I was talking to my husband about how it doesn't seem to matter, like, what type of treadmill you have, who made it. I mean, after about 2 to 3 months, you possibly might have a whole set of problems. And you could be taking care of it the way you're supposed to, right? Oiling underneath the belt. Like I said, we talked about the year of it being made, so we added in 2005, just to be safe. Any treadmill, we'll say 2005 and up. We talked about the friction sensor, the reason why you oil underneath the belt, right? On each side in the front, each side towards the back. If it builds up too much friction, there's a sensor. It may or may not be listed in your manual, but it will make your treadmill stop. Problem, you're on it. Okay, so I did talk to you guys about that. If it does not stop while you're off of it, you can run as fast as you want, incline and decline it, but it stops when you're on it. There's a friction sensor supposedly somewhere over here. I don't know. And if it does mention the friction sensor, you might be able to see it when you take the cover off. So I don't know. I don't know where it would be on your treadmill. It is said to be, I don't know, by the deck, in the deck, something. Somehow it senses, you know, that you're walking on it for that reason, for that sensor. So yeah. So, and the squeaking, I mean, seriously, 3 months, 4 months, I'd say, let's see, beginning of May, so let's count. June, July, August, September, the beginning of October will be 5 months. This thing has been squeaking for at least a month. So 4 months in, no matter where we oil it, it does what you're hearing right now. And as you know, this was supposed to be for my walk, right? And also because the other treadmill was doing this, and it was worse. And warming it up didn't seem to help. And I don't remember if we oiled it underneath the belt. Possibility that we did, I don't remember, because, like I said, we're going into 5 months of having this one. So, I don't know. I would like to think, even if it's in a price range that we would not want to spend, there has to be 1 or 2 treadmills out there where if you do the things that you should do, you know, of course you have to be aware that you're supposed to do them, right? It's not just oiling, it's where do you oil it. Then I would like to think there's at least 1 or 2 that you can get past 4 months without this happening. Or everyday usage of 2 months just to have it start sounding like I said, the wheels in a shopping cart. When you know the shopping cart's gonna try and pull to the left or right, it's not gonna want to roll straight. Across between that, nails on a chalkboard, and I don't know what else. That one sounds awful. And letting it run until it auto shuts off after a little over an hour, like I told you guys before, it wasn't working. It got to be, okay, run it again until it shuts off. Still, I come back out here, turn it on, and it'd be squeaking before I even get on it. And it was, like I said, way, this is nothing. So the fact that this is doing this defeated the whole purpose. But you guys know the story. We got refunded for this. So am I happy to have a free treadmill that works most of the time? Yeah. But it took about a month to get it working, right? It was not new out the box. It didn't work out the box. Then when the cord told us that it was used as well. So yeah, the irony of it, right? The look of it. There are things you're trying to avoid, you end up right back with the same problems. And because of the weight, I've mentioned this before, but keep in mind the weight would make it freight shipping. And so that presents a problem when it comes to returning it. Depending on who the freight carrier would be. Some freight carriers only have commercial customers, so you can't even make an account to even set up to ship a freight item back. It doesn't have to be treadmill, just anything like with freight. So then you end up going back and forth with the seller. Obviously, you're probably thinking, well, I want to be a third-party seller and buy, not buy a shipper from Amazon. Yes, true. I did break my rule out of all things I could have picked to break it with. But even though it all worked out in the end, I still wanted it to be something that I saw in person. And for it to have a warranty, it did not come with a warranty. No matter what it said online or in the book. Online it said 3 months on the selling page. In the book it said a year. No, that's not the case. We were asked to open it up and try and fix it ourselves. So, yeah. that was the overall situation of what happened. But I'm thinking, on one hand, well, at least it's working. On the other hand, I'm thinking, what if it stops? Have to replace it, right? If I'm not finished with the challenge. And then also, how long will it take before it's doing this if it does? If it doesn't, that's great. It would be nice to be able to take care of it and to see that the attempt you're making to take care of it is working. And preferably, I would need it to last for at least 2 years, right? I mean, we're so fresh in the beginning of this walk. Yes, we're 228 days in, right? If you just start with me from the beginning, we're doing it, right? But we have a long way to go. So, yeah. After they told me on the phone, they only had 2, really no reason. It's not worth an hour drive. And so, I do know we want a TV out here, but the plan is to move at least this one into the house. Originally, our original one that's sitting there was in the house, and I loved it. If I'm still recording by the time it's in the house, then I found a company. They make, okay, so let's talk about them. They're on Amazon. They make custom signs, and you get to pick what you want it to say. You get to pick if it has a remote or a dimmer. You get to pick if it's like in a square of glass, heart, plastic, whatever it is, the lettering, or if the lettering is cut to the shape of the letters. It'll still kind of look like, bubble letters, clear. And then I believe you get to pick what color do you want the letters themselves when they're not lit up. Do you want them to match the color of the light that it would be? I believe it matches the lights. Or do you want it to be clear? So when it's off, everything's clear. Okay, so pretty neat. They did have a sale going. And so with all the options that I had picked, I actually still have that page open on my phone. That way I could just go back to it, even though I liked it. You know, you tend to like other stuff on Amazon and everything else gets pushed down the list. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to keep it open anyway. And so I believe it was like, I think with a discount, it got down to like 30 or 40 bucks. I don't think it was more than 50. And that's pretty reasonable. So you start off, I believe, with 8 characters, I think 1 row. And then it goes up from there. And yes, you can have 2 rows of writing. I even had selected the emoji that has like a little type thing. And it didn't say that it couldn't be done. Now, I would think once they would see the order, they would contact me and say, oh, we can't do emojis. I know that I believe they can do like a heart at the end, maybe an exclamation mark at the end. But the exclamation mark is part of your keyboard thing, right? Your lettering, kind of, so to speak. I know it's punctuation, but you get what I'm saying. So I was interested to see if they could do the emoji. And then I wanted the emoji underneath the words, but then I thought to cut on the price, because of course 2 rows is more expensive than 1, I put it all on the same line. And so you actually get to see it. It does a preview while you're still on the customization page, and I just haven't ordered it. But it's a good price for the detail of the sign itself, the craftsmanship. They have a video, and so for one, it looks like a very unique company. I think that's pretty cool that they're able to do that. Then I like the fact that I think the lights can be solid. You can change the lights to different colors, like if you got the remote. And I think you can make the light flash. either a solid color or I don't know about rainbow colors, but I like that too as well. So it could be solid, flash, I'm going to say strobe, whatever it does, right? So you have options with this remote. And so, oh, I really hope that's my hair. It's time for a new ponytail holder. My ponytail is not up as high, and I know I said I was going to start wearing a bun, right? I forgot to wrap it up this morning. That would just completely take it away from my neck and my ears, because I can feel that when my ponytail kind of comes and comes next to it, plus the sweat. So, like I said, last thing I need will be for it to be a bug. So I'd rather it be my hair, but it is annoying. So I think tomorrow I'm going to try to remember to pin it up. But anyway, yeah, so shipping time was surprising. I believe it is third party ships and sells, but I mean, that would be kind of awkward to have them make it, customize it, have to send it to Amazon, and then Amazon ships it, right? Now, I can see that working if Amazon took on the making of the sign itself. And maybe if they work out a deal with the people to be provided with the materials. So I can see that working, but it's probably just easier for the seller to just ship and sell it themselves. And like I said, if you go with something pretty basic, nothing more than 8 characters, I believe spaces count, then you should be pretty okay. Like I said, the price will surprise you. The point of doing it was for, if I'm recording, I thought, I'll just take a little nail it into the door's wooden, right? And have a sign, recording. A flashing light seems a bit much because the more convenient thing to do is for it to be battery operated, right? But I think the sign would have to be plugged in to an outlet. And where it would plug in at, you'd actually have to step across it to get into the other bathroom. So, well, actually, no, there might, you know what, I think there's an outlet, I take that back, that will be in the room. So the cord would actually probably come down and go underneath the door and plug up in that outlet. And if there's something plugged up there, it would have to be plugged up to something else, or an extension cord would have to be involved. So I take that back. You know, I'm always thinking about safety measures as well. That would kind of make more sense. So I guess I could see it working. If it can't fit underneath the door, I don't think your door should have that much of a gap underneath it anyway. Then just have the door kind of cracked, right? I even thought about just a paper. And I guess it would have to be inside of something so it can hang, right, on the nail. That way, that would be the most cost-effective thing to do. With the light, I thought if it's lit up, you know what it says, because I was gonna have it say like shh, like that, right, with the emoji. Then I'm recording. If it's not lit up, I'm not. So I thought it was just something unique to have. And I think either way it goes, it comes attached to some chains or something where you can hang it up. I don't think you have to pick where it's like the letters are within a square frame type thing or background type thing in order for you to be able to hang it. Okay, so I think it just changes where the chains are coming from to hang it up on the nail. Now, of course, oh my gosh, the risk would be it dropping, right, and breaking. So a regular sign that says recording kind of seems more the way to go. And maybe on the opposite side of the sign it would say not recording, but I mean, that'd be simple, just like with a Sharpie or something, right? So it was just an idea. I mean, my husband had talked about a red light anyway, so I was pricing everything, and by the time you got to anything you wanted to light up, at that point, stumbling across this sign making company about a month ago seemed to be convenient because it was comparable in price. So I thought I should have taken advantage of it while they had the deal. So I don't know. So what I'll do is today, I'll look at it. I'll actually bring my notebook out for tomorrow. I'll write down the name of the company on Amazon. And if it's, I'm pretty sure, but just double check it, it ships and sells from them. What, I don't know, roughly kind of like what the ship time is, right? Just give you kind of an idea. Maybe I'll put the options I picked, how much each option costs, because once you add an option, it's like plus $4.99 or plus $5.99. So put what that cost is if you want to switch to a different option, or if the option you picked is free. And just go down the whole list as if I actually had it made, because you can see your total at the bottom before you decide to add it into your cart. So yeah, that's what we can do. Okay, so I'll do that just in case you're interested. I mean, yeah, there's a risk of it falling unless you have it sitting on something and leaning up against the wall. Still, there's risk of it falling and breaking. But maybe the material is thicker than it looks. It doesn't look thin, but you know what I mean. Whatever it's made out of. Hard plastic, a very thick glass, which will make it kind of heavy. I'll get more details tomorrow. We'll start with that. And I think as long as you stay within the characters, like I said, spaces count, then you should be fine. And on the video, they had one with a cuss word on it. And so it had something else like before or after it. So it looks like it could pretty much say like what you want it to. So yeah, I thought on one hand, a simple red light that would be on would be fine. Battery operated though, only problem, whether it can take rechargeable batteries or not, which will create the need for a charger for the battery. But let's just say it can't take rechargeable batteries, so not everything can take those, right? Then I was thinking, what if I'm recording and the batteries go out? The light's gonna go out. So if he's home, he'll think that I'm not recording. And the door will still be closed, but the light wouldn't be on, right? I could just have forgotten to open the door. So I thought about that as well. That if it was just a simple red light, I would want it to be able to plug into an outlet. The same idea I had. Plug it in from the inside of the room, cord would go underneath the door, there you go. Or an opening if it's too thick to go underneath the door. And I've talked to you guys about other things as well, right? So one, aside from this awful squeaking this thing is doing right now because it's gotten worse, the AC and the heater, depending on the time of the year. If I'm recording, if I forget that it's set to come on at a certain temperature, whether it's coming on for cooling or for heating, there's that as well. And it would be loud. You guys know, like when you see the light flash out here, sometimes that is the AC coming on. And even though you guys don't hear it, I know because I listen to some of my videos sometimes, when I get to like editing a part, and I can hear it very, very low, but you guys can't. But you do see the flash. So being inside, like I said, it sounds like two jets getting ready to take off. It's very loud. So I have taken that into consideration. But I record in the house, as you guys know. When I review a product, it's usually inside. So what I do is, like right now, if it's hot, I invested in the fan, right? And I haven't even gotten to worry about if it's cold because I can just bundle up and then once I stop recording, I can just make the heater come on, right? So I kind of have it figured out, but this is the main consistent thing that happens on a daily basis, right? So there's a lot of stuff to take into consideration, but that is the plan. And I don't know, there's a possibility, maybe within a week or so, that you guys will see me inside in like a corner of the room. And oh my gosh, we have to move some stuff around. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. That room kind of just became, okay, put it right here so we can figure out like what to do with it, where we're gonna put it, what we're gonna set up, have we even put it together yet? So I'm very interested to see if we clean it out, where we put the stuff that's going out of the room and where this would be. Okay, so I am picturing a corner of the room, and it will literally almost feel like in the same spot of where I am now, just inside. But I don't know, and then plus the leveling of the floor. As you guys know, without the mats, the treadmill does not go all the way down to the floor. So one of its many problems. And honestly, it's from sitting over here. So it just so happens, out of all the places that the floor could not be flat, it had to be over here. Because over there, it would go all the way down. I've tested it. Excuse me. So the first couple times it didn't, but then I did it again, and the wheels always touch the floor. So yeah. Remember, I was thinking, I don't think that's what's squeaking, because they wouldn't be rotating, they would just be sitting. And they're on the two mats. And I remember I showed you guys the ones that you can buy from Walmart. They're puzzle mats. And all together, they make a pretty good area. And they were like 20 bucks. I can't remember, I think there's like 6 pieces. So the thing is though, I can tell you, I don't think I've discussed this with you guys. If I haven't mentioned in a while. Okay, so if they're underneath your treadmill, and let's just say same problem, it won't lower it all the way to the floor. You double up, or if you have to double up, you put down the mat right, you're gonna notice that the stuff, whatever the mat is made off of, it's gonna look like you took a grater and like you grated the mat. And so when I do vacuum up over here in this corner and stuff like that, I vacuum up that stuff. And I'm thinking maybe from walking on it, it's rubbing. But I don't know. That's the only thing I can think of as to why that stuff will come off. So you might find, especially if you have it in your house, if it does do that, that it makes too much of a mess. And you might want to go like with a flat mat. At that point, it might be just to protect your floor, or maybe it can be made out of something else. So just a fair warning, that is what it's going to do. And I have yet to figure out why. So we are within 2 minutes of our time. When I stop it, maybe I'll take a look at it and I'll see if I can take a guess. So maybe what I'll do is I'll stop it, get off of it, let it lower down, start it. And then maybe I can get a close enough look to see what actually is happening. Because the only part of the treadmill that's moving is the deck, right? So we'll see. I'll examine it after I stop this. Might as well. And I might come up with an answer that I can tell you guys. Because it builds back up pretty fast. The little shavings or whatever you want to call it. So, you guys, we are almost there. Oh boy, we are at 38 minutes, 56 seconds, a little over a minute to go, and we will be done for today. But yeah, so that's basically what's going on for now. And of course, I always mention the fact, my thought process is thinking ahead, that I'm already thinking of what to do that has to be replaced. Now, at that time, there might be new treadmills. There'll be a whole nother set of research for me to do, right? But at least I'll have kind of a current knowledge on some of the ones that are already out. And this will give me time to read reviews. So yeah, that's what I can do in the meantime. But we'll see. That's squeaking. That's the only thing I can think of. But I'm like, what would make them spin? The fact that I'm walking is inclined? I don't know. All right, we're about to find out. Let's see. 40 minutes distance. Oh, I was going to say 1 minute. This is 1.29 for distance, 138 for calories. Okay, so first, so it is going to stop and decline. As you know by now, if you've been watching for a while, it doesn't always do that. It just added that to the list. Sometimes it doesn't want to stop. Okay, so I'm going to let it lower down all the way. And I don't know if I want a sip of water. Okay, let's do a quick pat clean up here, you guys. Like I said, you think you're sweating like when you're walking, when you stop, oh my gosh, it's almost like someone took a cup and just poured the rest of whatever wasn't happening on you. So let's see. All right, let's get off this thing and find out. Okay, so, yeah, there's a little kind of shavings things. That's kind of weird. I'm actually kind of nervous to lift this thing up because hopefully there's nothing alive or dead underneath here. Oh my gosh. Okay, so let me look and see if the mat has that stuff on there. Okay, so it is just like little dust particles. Of course, where the wheels sit, there's an indentation on one of the wheels. Okay, so all that black stuff that I was telling you guys about is like actually behind the treadmill. And all right, let's see. Let's lower it back down, turn it back on, and see, because from what I can tell, I don't see how the wheels will set down in different places when they're across from each other. All right, so yeah, let's lower this back down and start this back up. So there's a little thing down here that you push. And then for those of you who've never had a treadmill, I think most of them like slowly lower down. There might be some manually, but I think even if they manually, if you have to like hold on to it and let it down, that it has something to where it won't go down really fast. But I believe your treadmill will have to be pretty old to not have that feature to do that. Okay, so I'm going to start it, right? Okay, so you see it rocks. So like I said, the ground's not flat here, even though it looks flat. Okay. There's this squeaking. That seems to be coming from up in this area. Possibly, I don't know. It could be something that needs to be oiled again underneath the cover. And then plus, I mean, out of all fairness, I do walk in this thing every day. All right, so I'm going to look down here and see what's happening with the wheels. Okay, so the one wheel I can see is stationary. Like I said, it's not stationary, it's not moving, right? Make sure I use that word correctly. So it's not moving. My assumption is the other wheel isn't either. So let me see if I can get down and see this. I don't know. It's kind of lower than I thought. Let's see. No, I would probably have to say, of course, they wouldn't be moving because you're not rolling it. And you actually roll it when it's lifted up on the wheels that's underneath there anyway. So these wheels back here, I'm not even really sure what they're for. Maybe to be able to roll it flat, like to not even lift it up and lock it into place. So yeah, something's going on. Well, I would like to think you wouldn't have to pop off the side rails, which I think you can do. I think if you remove the cover, then I believe you can pop off the side rails as well. So maybe there's something that we're not oiling that we're missing. As if we haven't watched like a whole bunch. I mean, if I were to tell you we watched like 50 treadmill videos between the two of us, or I might be at like 50 myself, especially with the codes that it was throwing, I would not be over exaggerating. So we might have a total between the two of us of maybe somewhere between, we'll say 45 to 60 videos that we've been watching to just try to troubleshoot some things. Yeah, let me stop it. So it's definitely something, obviously, with it spinning. I know that was a long shot with the back wheels. They shouldn't be moving at all anyway. But all right, you guys, I don't know. I would have to actually, I have not yet been able to pop off the cover. My husband knows how to do it. But then after that, to see if there's anything in here. Is there another little rotating belt thingy in here? What is going on? And then I believe the incline has, my glasses are constantly flipping right now, but I believe that the incline has its own separate motor. So I think the bigger motor runs the treadmill, and then the other motor manages the inclining and declining. So maybe there's something that's supposed to be oiled there. I don't know. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm going to get out of here. I will see you guys tomorrow. And then, like I said, I have to make sure I remind myself. I just pictured the sign again in the page for Amazon to get that information so I can share it with you guys tomorrow, because you might be looking for a sign. They had it where I think one looked like it was for a wedding, and then one of it was, I don't know, like on a stage or whatever. So I don't know if they were performers, musicians or something like that. So they just are a unique company, and then I'll get that information out to you guys. So I will see you guys tomorrow, and we'll talk about that, and then whatever else I can come up with. Okay, you guys, stay safe. Bye.